Call the meeting to order. Please take the roll.
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Schron.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent. Ms. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is absent. Mr. Byrne.
Here.
You have a quorum, and let the record reflect that Councilmember Dale Miller is also in attendance.
Welcome, Mr. Miller. Thank you. And because we have a quorum, I think we can keep on trucking. So with that, is there any public comment from anyone?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have public comment. Lou?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to see on our agenda there's a resolution about a project. It's a mixed-use developmental projects. I'm very happy to see that. However, there's one thing I'm not sure because I have not seen the presentation of it. So I don't know, with all the words put on this agenda, since this location is kind of downtown, or you can say near West Side, is this area, I wouldn't know right now from the words. All the apartment units and all the business, which will be included in this particular project, they will have. Are they still the ones so-called high-end luxury kind or affordable kinds? We have had lots of the so-called luxury apartments, even they are in the mixed-use projects. In the downtown area, we have had a lot, even since last decade. So when will we put up priorities on the projects promoting mixed use, but accessible and affordable for lots of the people in downtown areas? Currently, we know we do have lots of good business in downtown, but most of the workers, they have to go through lots of struggles to come in downtown to work and leave downtown to go back home. There's no way for them to save up the time on the commuting in order for them to have more time for their family, children, school, healthcare, and other things they need to do in their lives. Lots of people are still wasting time on commuting between their jobs and their home, or between their school and their home. So when will we be able to prioritize accessible and affordable mixed projects in downtown area, near West Side, near East Side? I hope this committee will take that as a higher priorities. By the way, this will be also a good way to resolve our long-term homeless issue to begin with. Because lots of people, even they get a housing vouchers, due to the limitation of the locations they can go, they are still stuck on the street or in the shelter waiting for suitable housing. Even they already have a housing vouchers. Even sometimes the voucher is already almost expired. They still cannot find suitable, affordable housing. Please take that as a priority. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that concludes our public comment.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read the March 4th, 2024 minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. We have two items for review today. If you could read the first one into the record, and I see we have also a proposed substitute.
Resolution 2024-0140, awarding a total sum not to exceed $120,000 to the Ohio Aerospace Institute, Great Lakes Biomimicry Lab for the Cuyahoga County Business Sustainability Initiative from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund and the General Fund.
Okay, and there is a proposed substitute. Is there someone here to speak on the proposed substitute?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Trevor Meckler, County Council staff. Before you today, as the chairman mentioned, is a proposed substitute that would increase the total award from $120,000 to $130,000. Councilwoman Simon from District 11 indicated her support with an additional $10,000 to be added to the award. She unfortunately couldn't make it today, so she asked me to bring the proposed substitute forward to the committee for your consideration. This would be a third funding source to this award. $20,000 is from the Department of Development's budget. $100,000 is from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund. And then if the proposed substitute is approved, $10,000 from the District 11 ARPA Grant Fund.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to put the proposed substitute on the record for discussion? The chair will move to put the proposed substitute on the record. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Discussion. Is there any discussion in regards to, this is funds that Councilwoman Simon has in her ARPA funds available, and she's recommended she'd like to move that in there. Any discussion in regards to that? I think that's pretty much going to be a slam dunk. So any other discussion in regards to it? Hearing none. All in favor of the proposed substitute as written, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Hearing none. The proposed substitute is now on the record here for our review. Is there someone here to speak on the underlying concepts and where we're going to go?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Carol Thaler with the Ohio Aerospace Institute and Great Lakes Biomimicry.
And I am Tricia Brown, also from Ohio Aerospace Institute and Great Lakes Biomimicry.
And we have with us Anthony Gillespie, who is the Director of Technology-Based Economic Development, and that's sort of where we fit in to OAI. So I understand there's a PowerPoint
No,
somewhere.
you're on the screen already.
Oh, I was.
Through the wonders of technology.
Oh, I know. All right. So we're here to talk to you today and bring you up to speed on some work that we've done and that we would like to continue. There's two parts to our work, looking at sustainable business and advancing and keeping the businesses in Cuyahoga County ready to compete in a global economy, and then also enhancing the workforce and talent pipeline to have the right kind of young people that are ready for the jobs of tomorrow. So biomimicry might be a word that you're not completely familiar with. It means innovation inspired by nature, inspired by biology. And if you think about it, it's 3 billion years of research and development. So everything that we see around us has learned how to live on Earth in the long haul. So why would we look to biology to have a teacher? Why is biology our teacher? And that's because it gives us tools to reach sustainable goals. Like Cuyahoga County, the United Nations has sustainability goals, along with economic development goals and social goals. And this way of looking at the world and looking at invention and education is a very important new thing to look at. And Fortune magazine has noted that if you're not looking to the natural world, you're leaving money on the table. And we kind of like that idea. But how do you actually do this? I mean, you can't just go outside and say, okay, I need to move fluid a little, easier with using less energy. And so what we're going to do right now is say, this is a fan. Imagine a fan that's really, really big, and it is very noisy, and the workers are not happy. And so you look at, well, how can we reduce noise from things that are moving? And the answer came for this company from the trailing edge of an owl wing, because owls have to be very quiet in order to catch their dinner. And that simple little change allows this fan to move much more quietly. And you will have in front of you another example. There's 3 cards. You can see maybe you have the example of a company that's taking carbon dioxide out of the air to make concrete, like a coral takes gas out of water to make its body. Maybe you have the example of sharks there's no bacteria that grow on shark skin. And there are applications for hospital settings where the surface would never grow a harmful bacteria. And then there's, a simple one about a lotus leaf. Nothing sticks to a lotus leaf. And there's a paint that you can paint that you can then clean the surface without any soap. So that's just a very few examples of how you can learn from biology. And what we're trying to do is bring that into our economy. So another couple examples, Airbus is using what they've learned from an albatross wing. An albatross is one of those ocean birds that flies miles and hundreds and thousands of miles with very little energy. And they have flexible wing tips. And if they're looking to build the plane with flexible wing tips so that it can flex in the wind and reduces drag in turbulent situations and then uses less energy. Lockheed Martin is looking at how a plant leaf can bend but not break. And so they're looking at the properties of these leaves to figure out how, again, to get a plane through the air with less turbulence, and so using less energy. Goodyear has looked at, again, shark skin, how water moves over a shark skin and seeing how that could influence new tire development. And then Gojo was looking for a way to reduce the battery requirements of the touchless soap dispenser. And in a short few-month process with about 10 people from across the company, they looked at many examples from a spitting cobra and a shark, anything that moves fluid, and they decided to redesign their touchless soap dispenser based on the human heart, because every time when our heart beats, a little bit of energy is saved in the middle wall, and that's what this does now. And this leads me to all of these companies worked with Great Lakes Biomimicry and the University of Akron, let's say between 2012 and the pandemic. And each one of these companies brought the biomimicry innovation idea into their company through a PhD fellow at the University of Akron. And we're proud to have worked with them. And, like many things, after the pandemic, it didn't find its way past the pandemic, but those companies are still out there. So Tricia's going to talk about the work that we have done to date and then what we propose to do.
Thanks, Carol. So we were fortunate enough to receive county funds about 18 months ago to work in these two buckets that Carol outlined earlier. And the work that we have done in the bucket of sustainable innovation in business is a few things. One is we did some educational presentations. Some were lunch and learn, some were half-day events to show companies how they could structure their sustainability strategies in order to remain in the supply chain. Northeast Ohio and Ohio in general is a huge supplier to the aerospace industry. And the big aerospace companies are requiring their companies to be sustainable and have a sustainability strategy. And so we know that there's an opportunity to keep our companies thriving and in the, being a preferred supplier to these companies by looking at their sustainability strategies. And so we provided some lunch and learns. We had a half-day one just on supply chain, brought in Boeing and Parker Hannifin and EY to tell the companies why this is important to them, which was much more important than them listening to us say it, because they heard it right from the horse's mouth. We did one on federal legislation of how companies could take advantage of the two federal legislations that were passed last year, the IRA and the Infrastructure Act. We had one on innovation with biomimicry. John Nottingham from Nottingham Spurk came and spoke to them about how they do it, how they are innovating with biomimicry. And then Janita McGowan from Eaton came and talked about how sustainability is a win-win, not just for the suppliers, but also for the larger companies. And we recently had one with Andrew Watterson, aligning sustainability strategies with your customers' expectations, which all falls kind of into the same thing of really heads up, you need to start paying attention to this. And then in the workforce bucket and talent enhancement is we had a very successful class with Baldwin Wallace. They, for several years now, have had a class in biomimicry in the business school, but it's open to all majors, and there are many majors that take this class. But what we did different this year is we invited 3 companies to come into the class and propose real issues that they're looking at. Zinn Technology, for instance, had an issue with a lens that they had out in space because it kept getting dirty, and so proposed the problem to the students, and their student group solved that. We had a specialty warehousing company, and their problems were totally different, and their solutions got solved by teams of students. And then we had a company that was looking, how could biomimicry influence and impact their sustainability team? So it was more of an HR kind of organizational thing. So it was really across the board. And the interesting thing is not only were the students really excited, there's one comment from the student below, but the companies were brought, they had their own challenges, but they got to see the results of other totally unrelated industries and their challenges, and their eyes were wide open. And I did a post-survey with them, and every single one of these companies said, yes, we would consider using biomimicry going forward. And number 2, which was more important to us, especially in the pipeline development, is it opened their eyes to the fact that there are talented students out there that fall outside of where they usually look for talent. You know, if you're a Zinn, you're going to look to an engineer. But he said, no, I would absolutely consider a biology student because they have the critical thinking skills, and for heaven's sakes, we can train them in most things. So that was a real win for us, and we're going to continue that program with them. And then there's BioScene. That's our big international conference. We make a point of inviting lots of students there. They intermix with people from companies, and so it's a great opportunity for, you know, cross-learning there. And then with NASA, we're working on a project called Stepping Stars. NASA awarded $1.5 million to the Ohio Space Grant Consortium. We were brought in as a partner to introduce biomimicry to the curriculum, and this is geared for 6th through 12th grade. Keeping kids in STEM, building that pipeline. We find biomimicry to be very appealing, particularly to young girls. It's inspiring to them, keeps them in STEM, so we're continuing that with them. So the proposed work of, you know, what's in front of you for the next proposal, again, falls in 2 buckets. So the sustainable innovation in business, we're going to keep on keeping on. We are going to continue marketing and outreach, reach more companies to get the word out about sustainable business practices. Training and support, we do educational seminars for businesses when they're like, hey, this biomimicry thing's kind of cool, can you come talk to my team? That's always a great door in. Sustainable Roadway is a project that we've invited companies in Cuyahoga County to help us rethink how we could design a roadway differently, think about it differently, different materials, different processes, include solar maybe, include pollinator gardens, include retention of water. It's a limited project right now, but we've got a lot of excitement around that, so we will be continuing that. And then the other bucket, the enhancing the workforce and talent. We want to go earlier with the students. So I mentioned with the Stepping Stars, we did 6 through 12. Problem is, kids are dropping out of STEM as early as 2nd grade, 3rd grade, certainly by 6th grade. Many of them have made their decisions. So we want to help develop curricula to grab kids when they're younger, to keep them excited about STEM. And so that's part of the project. And then continue with the application of biomimicry at Baldwin Wallace and other colleges. We have another project that we want to look at. It's a pilot at Ohio State right now that we want to replicate at Baldwin Wallace, taking technology from NASA, bringing in a cross-functional team to look at, see if there's a market. So the students get real-world experience, figuring out what the market is, talking to businesses. But the difference with Baldwin Wallace we want to do is, with this project, we want to include biology students. We want them in at the very beginning so they can offer their knowledge and become part of this project as well. And then we want to, hold another BioScene. Our last one was October of '23. We're hoping to do one next spring. And So we need some support for that. Oh, sorry. Reline, okay. So the outcomes for this proposed investment, in the business realm, identifying more companies to see who's open to sustainability and biomimetic innovation. It's, pounding the drum, just continuing. We've never had any business say this is a stupid idea. The real trick is getting them to then understand how they can embed it in their own companies, and that takes work. We want to create a sustainability and biomimicry community of practice at OAI to kind of house all these business outreach and educational activities. And we have been working with the Society of Automotive Engineers, which now also includes aerospace. They do standards for really technical things in the aerospace industry, but we are working with them to, on a nature-inspired technology and applications committee that is at the very beginning of companies asking, all right, we're really interested in this. How do we then bring it into our companies? And then we want to expand the outreach and programming to college students and younger students in companies and begin the development of the STEM lessons for the younger kids. And of course, work on BioScene 2025. And with that,
Thanks, Patricia. And Carol. Questions from anyone on the committee? Questions?
I have a quick comment, Mr. Chair. Fantastic presentation. A little concerned where you said that the grades that students are dropping out of STEM seems to be lower and lower. Is there a reason for that, or can you?
I don't know the reason. I'll tell you though, it's more heavily weighted towards girls and it's more heavily weighted toward minority students. Kind of by the time they're in third grade, they're like, oh, I'm not good at math. I don't know where they get it, right? But certainly by the time they're in sixth grade, we were just at something this morning at OAI, and the CEO of the Girl Scouts, this is a huge passion project of hers, is to keep girls in STEM, and so they're doing all kinds of stuff. And her statistics were horrifying. That they asked sixth grade girls, "What's your dream job? What would keep you from doing it?" And they said, "I'm not smart enough for it." And so we want kids to say, and we know that biomimicry is a tool that keeps kids excited. Because, Carol and I talk about this. When we were in science, don't talk to me about robots and computers. Be like, oh. But you talk to me about, how a leaf takes the sun and turns it into energy and, creates life. When we present it that way, and it's science and it's STEM, and then, yes, you can get into the physics of it, and you can get into the rest of it. But when you grab them with biomimicry, it's sticky. It keeps them in.
And when you see that there's a decline, is that Greater Cleveland? Is that nationwide?
Everywhere.
Is it really? Okay.
Yep, it's everywhere. The Girl Scouts are building a new STEM center down in at their camp near Peninsula, and it's a biomimicry center. And they're going to invite so the girls are going to use it on the weekend, but they're going to invite schools, Akron schools all over. So boys and girls are going to be in their biomimicry center. That's how passionate she is about this.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Miller, do you have a question?
So just to comment that this is a very interesting convergence of education, environment, and economic development, and the sponsorship of OAI for the biomimicry program is very important in providing the infrastructure and ongoing support necessary to develop this into an ongoing and sustainable effort that can have a tremendous impact for Cuyahoga County's future. And so I just ask for the support of my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, the chair is going to ask some questions now. I always give everybody a first shot to get what's on their hot button. Is this to develop a product? It looks like there's a path that takes you down the studying and the academic side, and what is the leaf and how it changes photosynthesis, and that's all well good as far as the study in the stem, and the same thing about the skin of the reptile and what it does. But ultimately, it seems to me there ought to be a product or a process or a software or a coding or something that becomes a tangible benefit that society gets. So what
Yes.
are those products or processes that
So-
that we've seen success with at this point? Not that they used the idea, but they actually used it and it became a product.
So my first example would be Parker Hannifin had a gravel, somebody that was in Italy moving gravel around their site. And Parker Hannifin had these hoses that were continually quickly being degraded. And the whole manufacturing plant had to, they had to take it down, replace the hoses. And they learned from a snake. So a snake goes through the sand and gravel and is not harmed by it. And so what they did is learned how to make the interior of the hose like a snake skin. And now the plant does not have to be taken down, for 5, 6, 10 times as long as what it used to be. So that's an example. Velcro is an example, actually. An Austrian scientist looked at how a burr stuck to himself and his dog, and he put it under a microscope, and he's like, oh, look at that. Maybe we can make some sort of attachment, and, 50, 60 years later, it's everywhere. What other examples am I missing?
What have we seen in the Cleveland area through your research? Because this is the second round we're looking at right now. What did we learn in the first round? Did any of it become commercialized? I think somebody referred to John Nottingham from Nottingham Spurk, and so he's one who converts ideas into products, and patents and things of that nature. So has there been anything that's come out of that first round? And I know that's early. I understand how
Yeah.
innovation works. It's not sitting on the shelf waiting to come out.
And really, our focus in the first round, and really even, to be honest, in the second round, isn't to get a product on the market. It's working with those entities in the ecosystem to prepare their minds, prepare the students at Baldwin Wallace, prepare the businesses that we speak with. Like, this is a real, true innovation tool. Not so much we're working on a specific project. We haven't been working on a specific project.
No, I didn't necessarily mean that you were, but whoever your client is, I would like to hope they're not just sitting and studying something for the value of study, which is a very valuable academic piece, but ultimately, shareholders and investors and all those kind of people that keep that company going. You referred to Parker Hannifin, you referred to a number of these other organizations out there. I assume that they would like to see something coming out that would get commercialized.
Absolutely. We like to teach the companies to do the innovation process. And frankly, some of them that we have taught, they don't tell us because they don't want their competitors to know.
Okay, well, I mean, like Gojo, did they translate that back to the
Yeah,
heart
that
valve? and-
touchless soap dispenser.
Yeah, right.
It went from needing 4 batteries to 2 batteries.
Okay, but the semi-pulsation of whatever the valve chambers are.
Yeah.
Somebody would sit there and say, that's how I translated that, and it became this
Right. And
exponential
that's
growth of saving of battery power went from 4 to
right.
2.
So it's not good for everybody, but it's good for.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's an engineer, I remember the engineer at Gojo was, oh my gosh, it's easier than we think. So we're teaching the companies to look to innovate.
Can I see on the University of Akron list, you've got, real quick, my math, it looks like 19 companies are showing up there. Or no, maybe not 18. I didn't do the quick math. You had 4, 5, 5, and 4. So would they come back and say, yes, biomimicry resulted in a product or a process or a software or a coding or something that became
Right,
commercialized?
From what we understand, is that the development process is several years long.
Sure.
Once they get the idea. And, I think Emily did some work on what they had done. So I personally can't say off the top of my head, but I know that the process is a long time to get a product in. And I would say, I recall that Bendix filed 12 patents in 3 years based on biomimicry. Yeah,
Component to it?
yeah. So,
I see you have at least, looks like 2 medical on here.
right.
Biohabitats and US endoscopic.
Yeah, US Endoscopy became STERIS, or is a part of STERIS.
Okay.
Now, and they were looking at tissue retrieval in operation setting, when you're in a medical setting in surgery, and they looked at what kind of bird. So I guess you talk it, you know more about, what, I'm going like
talons?
this.
Yeah, the
talons
grab
of-
with the talons.
Talons of the body.
Yeah, they looked at how the osprey, most birds of prey, all birds of prey are phenomenal hunters, but they noticed it had a 4th talon. So they were using 3 and then went with the 4th, and they made this amazing product that was highly, highly
I do
efficient.
remember something here. And the talons were different lengths,
They are, yes.
so you're a birder.
Well, I just study stuff that's useless information that I say. Not useless, but.
I get it.
And Paul probably knows sitting back there, knows where I'm going to go with this.
Okay.
And so, sorry about this, but I'm going to set it up.
Yeah.
We have this council has created a fund around opioid innovation development, not for the treatment piece, but for the development of product piece. And I would love nothing better than, we have the heads of innovation for Cleveland Clinic, head of innovation for UH. We have financial folks on here. We've had advice from John Nottingham because we don't know what the products are going to be. And sometimes it takes a while to convince people that innovation is not tomorrow's product that falls
Yeah,
off the shelf. It's 3 to
right.
4 years. And I would love to see if your body of thinkers could say, hey, here's a way in which we could stop that child. Because we just had at our meeting on 2 days, or last week, we had a parent sadly tell us about the loss of a child. And is there something we could have found in biomimicry that could have helped that child to teach another child, to go forward with something out there? And I would love to challenge you to come and talk to our group and say, hey, I don't know what the solution is, but I think that there is something out there that could help us because we're losing 100,000 lives a year. And if we could even save 10%, that's 10,000 lives we'd be saving.
What's the name of that group?
Well, it's the Opiate Innovation Fund.
Opiate Innovation Fund.
And we're over
Okay.
at the Cleveland Foundation. And we are going to grow this into becoming its own hub for innovation around solving and helping to participate in solving the opioid problem on the front end. But when I'm listening to your presentation, I just could not help but think that there's got to be something there.
Absolutely. I
There's
love
something
when the
in nature,
connections, yeah.
that maybe the body would cause it to reject something, or who knows what it happens to be. But the body or the mind or the heart or the eyes or some part of us might, because the other creatures of the world, they don't consume these things. And there's some reason why.
Right.
Because they like to feel good about whatever they do too. But I just cannot help but think that they would not subject themselves. And so perhaps there's something in nature that would help us to reject this plague that we have on our society.
Very good.
I didn't mean to give you an easy one there.
Oh, geez.
And Paul probably is back there smiling, knowing full well that that's where my brain
head.
goes right now,
Okay.
because I really believe that we're losing 4,000 in just northeastern Ohio. 4,000 of God's souls, so out there. Any other questions? Well, I think that, is there
Thank
anything
you.
from the Department of Development on this? Anybody coming up to? Oh, yeah, I was talking to him right behind you.
I
That's it.
know, I was like, where is?
Good afternoon, Paul Herdig, Department of Development. Just want to confirm that the administration is providing a small portion of the funding, $20,000 from the administration's budget. We certainly think this is worthwhile work.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody in regards to this? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the substitute that's been approved?
So moved.
And has been moved and seconded. Any discussion regarding the approval of the substituted resolution? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries unanimously. Thank you very much. God bless you and good luck. And please take my challenge because it's a life challenge that we would love to help have an impact on lives.
And Mr. Chair, for the record, this is a second reading.
I'm sorry?
And for the record, this is for second reading.
Oh, yeah. And sorry, what we do with ARPA funds, both Carol and Patricia, we have to go through 3 readings. We've gone through, so that was second. We're going to go for second reading at our next council meeting, and third reading will be, we don't rush the process, unlike we can do on some of the things. We've chosen not to rush any of the ARPA funds for the last year and a half.
May
Okay.
27th,
What's that?
May 27th.
What was that?
Final approval.
Oh, okay. So May 27th will be the third reading. Thank you. We have one other item before the committee. If we could read that in the record, please.
Resolution 2024-0166, amending resolution number R 2023-0082, dated April 11th, 2023, which authorized an economic development loan in an amount not to exceed $2 million to Bridgeworks LLC or its designee to assist with funding project costs of a place-based mixed-use development project located at 2429 West Superior Viaduct in the city of Cleveland, which will include 140 apartment units, 132-room hotel, a 120-seat restaurant and bar, and a parking garage, by extending the resolution sunset date from 12 months to 18 months.
Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. Anthony Stella with the Department of Development. And I have Michael Panzica here with us today, too. He's a representative from the developer. We had brought this project forward last year, pretty much 1 year ago, for with a 12-month sunset. And in that time, so we kind of go over the project a little bit. This is a project located on the at the intersection of West 25th and Detroit Avenue, the former county engineer's site. The developers had purchased that site to develop a mixed-use project, which again included 140 residential apartments. And it's important to note that half of those units are workforce affordable housing, which was part of an agreement they had with the county. In that time, from when it was approved last year, obviously we all know there's been some challenges with development, construction costs and interest rates. So the development team, they didn't give up on this project. They went back to the drawing board to redesign the project to help bring all of the promised uses forward at a better cost due to the increases. And they have done so. They've redesigned the project, and it is going for its final approval with the City of Cleveland on May 6th, coming up soon as well. And we want to extend that sunset date an additional 6 months, which would take us into October, to give them time to get that approval and to finish getting the rest of the financing together. All the sources are still in place other than the construction loan, which they are working on getting a replacement for that loan. Everything as far as collateral and all other due diligence remains the same as what was presented last year. We would be in the same position on the real estate. We'd have the same guarantors, both personal and a corporate from an investor that's in on the project. So it's an important project due to its location right at the western end of the Detroit Superior Bridge, which the administration is looking to reactivate that lower level. There's actually access to that lower level from this site, which will remain available for whenever it's open for uses. Also, a lot of investment in that area, pretty much right across the street on the Irishtown Bend Park. This is a catalytic project which will really help with that area. In addition, creating 58 new jobs due to the hotel and restaurant space, which will be located there. So creating a lot of economic activity and bringing new residents to that area. So what we are asking is just to extend that sunset date, and I can open it up for any questions.
Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for clarity, the county would be in third position, correct?
Correct,
On the
yes, and we would remain in the same position, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? You indicated that the initial project had half of the property, the rentals were going to be at a lower income basis. Is that still the case?
Yes, they will be at affordable to people at 100% of the area mean income.
Okay. That's not subsidized, though, it's just a lower rent is what?
Correct,
Okay, so
yes.
we're just to make sure everybody is using the same terms in regards
Yes,
to.
it's not a subsidy, and there's no differences in the units at all. They'll be exactly the same as
Okay.
the
but
rest of them.
But they have a target rate that the rental's going to be, and that will be capable of somebody in a lower income to be able to rent at this.
Yeah, somebody at pretty much exactly the median income would be
Okay.
able to
And
afford
so
it.
they'll be able to service there's a lot of hospitality jobs that are over in that sector that these people would be able to, more than capable of working there.
Yes.
And I think you said it was, what, 140 units? How many,
140 units, so
70 units are going to be of that nature?
Yeah, 70
Okay.
will be market rate and 70 at, 100% of median
And
income.
we're in a third position. How about personal guarantee? What's the status of that?
The same personal guarantees that we had brought forward, which are from Michael Panzica, who's here, Graham Vesey, and Marika Shiori Clark. They're the individuals who have more than 20% ownership. And then there's a guarantee also from a group called Appleseed Investment Partners, who's a investor into the project. So those are exactly the same as what was proposed.
Who's the prime? Who's the prime? Who's going to be in number one position?
We're not sure who that will, at the time, it was Erie Bank that was the construction lender. They're looking
Right.
to replace that lender. It'll be a regular market lender. And the second is Cleveland Development Advisors, which is GCP's lending arm, and then we were in third.
Okay. And from the standpoint of hopefully by fall, the rates will have dropped a little bit. We at least pick up one or two, hopefully rate drops from the feds out there. That would help.
They
them.
keep saying we're gonna
Yeah, we're
see
supposed to
them,
get 3 or 4. Well, they ain't going to have them.
No, I think probably,
We're going to be lucky if we get 3.
yeah, I
from-
think
from that
maybe
sta-
2 or 3.
Yeah, from that standpoint. And sometimes we hear from people saying that we don't have lower income opportunities, and you're telling us that this is clearly half of the property is going to be lower income. And I know that the one right down the street here, though it hasn't come into final fruition, 100% of the Huntington building was going to be lower income, as I recall.
Yes, I know they're
That was
still
like-
working
That
on
was like
putting that.
800 units or something. I think it's just astronomical number.
I
So-
believe so. And
Yeah.
we've have some other projects that
Yeah.
we've done which are subsidized as well, that,
Yeah, where we are targeting.
including the former Northern Ohio Blanket Mills, which I believe is opening soon, which was a subsidized
We're proud of
project.
the fact that we don't have just a single path. We take multiple paths.
Yes.
from that. Are there any questions based on the chair's questions? Okay, hearing nothing. Dale, do you have a question?
Chairman, just a comment that I just want to commend you for your persistence and being willing to work through the challenges of this difficult financial environment and find a way to make it work, and wish you the best of success.
Yeah, and to echo Mr. Miller's comments, Mike, you don't have to come up and take the microphone. We just appreciate that you're willing to stay in this, because it's easy to fold your tent when the rates are as bad as they have been, the highest in a long time. And so we appreciate you're willing to step up there and still be part of this, and wish you all the best of luck out there. Any other comments? All we're doing here is extending the sunset portion. We're not doing anything else. So is there a motion to extend it?
So moved.
Has it been moved? The chair will second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of extending the sunset on this, say aye. Aye. Hearing any opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Looking
Excuse me,
forward to
Mr.
it.
Chair, is that for second reading?
Oh, yeah. Do you need this for second reading? Would you prefer? Is it a big deal?
It could go through, it could go through its normal.
Okay, we'll just take our 3 readings. I like when things go in regular order.
Thank you.
Because if you haven't found your prime yet, our 2 weeks is not going to make a difference from that more than likely. Thank you very much. Is there anything else to come before the committee today? Any miscellaneous business? You're not hearing any?